Hello and welcome to the latest This is the Music Meets podcast. I'm delighted to be joined by Charlie and Tom from The Native, who are one of the most exciting bands on the new music scene and are just days away from releasing their new EP, Looking Back. Charlie, Tom, thanks very much for coming on today. How are you both doing?
Yeah, doing really well. It's actually Fergus with us today. Fergus is Tom.
Sorry
Tom
about
gonna
that.
make it.
Misinformation
No, it's all
when I was told.
No, it's all
No
good.
worries.
Yeah, no, we're doing really well. We got back. We had a late one last night. We were playing Boardmasters Festival
Yeah.
and stuck around to watch Kings of Leon, but then ended up getting back at like 4 a.m. So we're pretty jaded, but
Yeah.
we're all good.
Oh, brilliant! Well, even bigger thanks for coming on today after that epic journey back to where you guys are, obviously down in the south.
Thank you for having us.
So for those that are unaware, how did the Native start?
So me and the guitarist Ben started off jamming in GCSE music. So when we were meant to be doing like our coursework, we were just writing tunes for the band. And then we had a few mates at school who played instruments and were into the same kind of music as us. So we just started getting in the room and jamming, and the band was formed. And then we later met Fergus this year because he's at uni in Bristol at BIM. And yeah, we found Fergie. Found him at open mic night in a pub in Bristol. So yeah.
Fantastic. So how did signing for this Feeling Records come about? Because obviously you've just signed obviously like a few months back. So how did that come about, and sort of, you know, how excited are you to be working with them guys?
Yeah, we're super excited. I think Mikey's always shown us a lot of support. I think it started off, we did like a little tour up. It was our first ever little tour up north, which they put on, which was amazing. We did kind of Manchester, Liverpool, Newcastle, I think. And ever since then, kind of Mikey's been pushing our stuff. I think the Frontline was an early track which kind of got him on board. And since then he's been really keen to help out. And yeah, we were so gassed when we found out that he wanted to sign us. So
yeah, I bet. Amazing, fantastic stuff. So obviously, as we mentioned there in the intro, you guys obviously got your new EP coming out called Looking Back. So how pleased are you to be releasing that now out into the wider world?
Pretty pleased, yeah. I mean, some of those songs we've been playing since the beginning of the year. And yeah, I think to finally have it out there will be really nice for us, and for everyone to hear it as well.
And I mean, obviously, on the EP, I've been lucky enough to hear it. They're obviously quite referenced across each track, sort of maybe about, you know, being disillusioned with being like a young person at the moment. But there obviously are some moments where it's you know, expression of, you know, like optimism and stuff like that. So, but are the lyrics kind of like based on your own personal experiences, or is it just sort of more like a, you know, an observation of maybe how, you know, younger people in general are feeling?
no, I think it's definitely a thing from personal experience. I think a lot of those lyrics were coming about just out of lockdown, kind of last winter. We were all in quite like a weird dark place.
Yeah.
So I think why a lot of the lyrics are quite like that. A lot of it can be perceived as quite negative, and like that's just what we were going through at the time, I think. And then looking back came towards the end of that, and it had a lot more hope to it. And I think it's kind of summarizes the whole EP. It kind of saying like, even though everything's really bad at the minute and you may feel like it's not going to get better, it will eventually. And yeah, I think that's why we wanted to make it the title track.
Yeah, sure. And have you kind of like got or for both of you really, have you got like a personal like favorite track off of the EP at all?
I'd say 20 something, but I'm quite biased because that one's got a nice drum intro, which I love playing. But yeah, that's good. I always feel like that one gets a really good reception as well when we play it live.
When we played it on Friday at Broadmasters, it was mental.
Yeah,
it was so
everyone
was just like up for it. It was kind of like 7:30 on the Friday, so nobody was really tired yet. Everyone was still really buzzing. Yeah, that went down really well. I think probably it's like a little acoustic track on the EP, which is like a little filler, which is if not now, then when. It's probably my favorite. I think it is literally just guitar and vocal, but I think it's probably one of the best songs we've ever written, just in terms of like the lyrics and just how the melody kind of conveys the emotion.
Yeah, sure. And obviously you've just mentioned there obviously the Broadmasters festival, obviously that you've just come back from like this early this morning, and obviously next weekend you're off again for up to Reading and Leeds Festival. So how excited are you to be playing obviously such an iconic festival?
Yeah, I think Reading and Leeds is going to be mental. We've been looking at the lineup, and it's just so many good bands, and we're actually got a decent slot on quite a good stage with a load of other really sick bands that we really like. So yeah, we're really, really excited. And
obviously staying with live music, obviously I saw the sort of some of the videos yesterday that were doing the rounds. You've obviously were up on stage yesterday with Bastille as well, and obviously you supported them, didn't you, a few months back on their UK tour?
Yeah.
Obviously you had ended up playing at the London's O2 as well. So kind of like what was that experience like, and like being on tour with those guys, but in the first place, but kind of like how did that come about with getting on their tour?
Well, Woody the drummer, I think, put us forward because he's like a Plymouth boy, and he's heard of us, and kind of all of that. And then I think that one of their managers also is from down here and had their kind of head to the ground and was listening out for new music, and she put us forward as well. And yeah, we were really, really lucky to get it, and it was mental. Last night was absolutely mental when we went up on stage with them. I think it was probably one of the craziest things. It was so we didn't really know.
Yeah,
because nobody in the crew was telling us anything. They were just like, just come side stage, and we were like, okay, we don't really know. We just stood there waiting, like, what's going on? The crowd was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. There was probably like 50,000 people there. It was mental. It was huge. And then he went, welcome to the stage, our friends, the Native, and everyone went mental in the crowd, and we like sprinted on, and we're just doing some really weird dancing.
Yeah, a lot of that dancing.
It was very strange. It was fun though. And then it was great to see them all again, because obviously it's been like it's been kind of 4 months since the tour, and we were missing them, so it was great to see them all and catch up and have a bit of a night out.
Yeah, fantastic. And would is that kind of like one of the proudest moments that you've had to date in music, or is there maybe something else that's been sort of like the moment that you go, wow, this is pretty impressive type thing?
Yeah, I think, to be fair, it probably comes on, like, all the support stuff is amazing, but I think you're always there trying to get new fans. Like, you're kind of, I feel like the moment for us has probably been on the headline tour, where we were only doing kind of 300 capacity venues, 200 capacity venues, but because everyone there was our fans and there was just such a communal kind of vibe going on. I think it was probably our London show. We did Camden Assembly.
Yeah.
And sold it out, and it was just insane. It was like the crowd were up for it. The sound was up. It was just amazing. And it was just such a good show. Yeah. I think that's probably the moment after that show, and like all the fans were kind of coming up and asking us to kind of sign shit, and like people saying like, oh, can you write out these lyrics so I'm going to get them tattooed and stuff like that. Like, I think that was probably the proudest bit, is when you see all the fans and stuff coming back.
And just as well, sort of like how what is like the music scene like from where you from? Obviously, a lot of people when they talk about the music scene, they obviously reference like London or Manchester or places like that. So what is it like for you guys where you are?
I think COVID's killed a lot of the smaller bands, which means there's not really many gigs on anymore. But there's a few little venues, but honestly, it's not great. It's not what it used to be. We're trying to kind of push it on and move it on. I don't know. I'm trying to get more people into it as well. But it also does help because then there's also less people doing it. So the people that are into music down here, like there's probably like 3 or 4 bands that are actually still releasing music and doing gigs and stuff. Like they're actually like the kind of there's quite a few bands, but the ones that are actually releasing kind of good music and have got like a bit of a following, like that's probably it. So so if you are into your music and you're kind of into discovering new artists, I feel like it is easier to find people because there's less. Whereas like you go to Manchester and there's so many bands, it's like really hard to stick out. It also gives us something different, I think, coming from down here, like being like in these kind of small towns around, like in the middle of nowhere, where it's just like you got like one pub and everyone kind of goes to school in the same school and then grows up in the town and stays in the town, and it just doesn't change. And I think it influences our sound a lot.
Sure, okay, and just sort of on sort of like up and coming bands, really, are there sort of any bands that sort of caught your eye, you know, that you're sort of like, yeah, I really like them, and
yeah,
you know,
yeah. So there's this feeling band called the Seratones who are really good.
Yeah,
there's another guy on our label called Fitzroy Holt who's got an amazing voice. We saw him at Truck, and his voice is just insane. And then there's a band called Daisy Brain, which I really like. They played at Boardmasters before us, and they were really cool. That's kind of like skatery kind of pop punky stuff. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's really good. And yeah, that'll probably be it.
Yeah, fantastic. And for you, kind of like what was, or I guess really more like your musical heroes. So who sort of like inspired you to sort of pick up guitar or to pick up the drums as well?
Drums.
I think for me it was definitely Taylor Hawkins.
Yeah.
From Foo Fighters. Yeah, just his not only his playing ability, but just his whole presence on stage, his style. Yeah, it was just incredible. And yeah, I don't know really. I think at the moment it's just kind of whatever I enjoy playing to, really.
Yeah.
I'm quite big into Inhaler. Sam Fender, I love him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing fantastically well. And how about you, Charlie? Oh, sorry. Sorry. How about you, Charlie? Was there anyone in particular for you that sort of got you into it?
Yeah, I think we saw Kings of Leon last night. They were probably one of the top bands for us. We're all kind of massive Kings of Leon fans. Who else? I guess like early on, probably Ben Howard. I always thought he was really good. He was really cool. And yeah, like War on Drugs, another great band who I've like loved for ages. And there's so many, literally just anything, anything good. But those are probably like the top 3, I guess.
Yeah, sure, okay. And what if you guys had a musical time machine and could be transported back to any era, what era of music would you choose?
I think I'd probably go 70s.
70s. I'm thinking Led Zeppelin.
They seem pretty cool.
Yeah. Great era.
70s. It was just when there was like when you had like proper rock stars and like proper like the bands were just insane.
And you could just sneak into venues.
Yeah, and just like I don't know, it just felt everything felt a bit more relaxed and cool, and they were like dressed up, and it was probably 70s.
Yeah. Have you just saying there about the dressing up? Is that something that you guys have ever thought about doing? Like for your like your sets at all, or is it just no, we're just going to turn up with what we got on?
maybe one day, but I don't know. Like I think we just wear what we wear normally. I think it's nice to keep it casual on stage, especially like when we were doing like the O2 and stuff. We were just wearing like t-shirts and jeans or like just shirts, or whatever. Because I think it's quite cool if you're just wearing like your casual clothes.
Yeah,
Playing on such a massive stage, it's just quite. I don't know. I think it's quite nice, especially as a young band. But yeah, we don't really think about it too deeply. So
yeah, sure. And what would you say are your like 3 favorite albums of all time?
that's a really tricky question. That's so hard. I don't know. Probably Rumours, Fleetwood Mac. Probably one of them. I don't know. I don't know. I want to say Led Zeppelin 1 or Led Zeppelin 2. It's an amazing album. 3, A Deeper Understanding, War on Drugs, probably.
Yeah.
What about you?
I would say Only by the Night, Kings of Leon.
Yeah, fantastic choices there. And if you some quick fire questions, really, to be fair, are you what's your favorite biscuit?
Lotus biscuit that goes well with coffee.
Bourbon
Biscuit. And what's your favorite pizza topping?
pepperoni with jalapenos.
Pineapple.
No.
Yes. Yes. We're getting more people onto this now.
No, I'd say Parma ham.
Oh, nice choices there. And what would you kind of like say are going to be like the next set of plans for you guys in terms of, you know, like music? Obviously, you've got you obviously got the EP coming out, you know, on Friday. Is what's next? Is there going to be like a tour coming up or anything like that at all to sort of help promote it?
I think at the moment we're just trying to do as many festivals as possible and get that out of the way. Really enjoy it as well. We're really trying to enjoy it, and yeah, I think we're starting to write again, which is nice.
Yeah.
We weren't kind of writing much over the tour and over the last few months, but I think stuff's starting to come out more, and really excited about some of the music we're writing. So yeah.
Fantastic stuff. So, Charlie, Fergus, thanks very much for coming on to the podcast today. It's really appreciated. And sorry that it's short and sweet there, as they say. Just before you do go, can you just let all the listeners know where they can find the Native on social media?
Yeah, it's at We Are The Native on everything apart from, I think, Twitter and TikTok, which is at The Native Band. And we've got a website with everything on it. We've got all our live dates, all our merch and everything else. So check the website out, wearethenative.com.
Fantastic stuff. And obviously, as we alluded to at the beginning of the podcast, the band's debut EP is coming out this Friday, the 19th of August. On all of the, and it will be available, I believe, as well on all of the usual streaming and download platforms. And all that leaves me to say is thank you to everyone for listening to the latest This Is The Music Meets podcast. Don't forget to give us a little subscribe and give that as well a listen on your usual download and streaming platforms. Charlie, Fergus, thanks again for coming on. It's really appreciated. And I hope now that you're probably off to go and catch up on some much needed sleep, I think, by the sound of it.
Yeah. I think so, yeah. We've got a few more interviews today and then we can just clock off. But yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Fantastic. I wish you obviously fantastic success with the EP coming out, looking back, and hopefully as well that will get out to you know, get out there so that everyone can enjoy it. As I say, I've been very fortunate enough to already hear it, and I think it's brilliant, and I think it's going to be you know, right up in the mix, you know, as one of the EPs of 2022.
Oh, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
man.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for coming on. And hopefully, when you're on tour next, I might be able to get myself down to one of the
Definitely.
gigs.
Whereabouts are you from? Do you live in London or?
Just outside. I live in a place called Southend. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay, cool.
about an hour or so. So not too far.
Cool. Great.
Brilliant. So hopefully catch you guys up. Yeah, as I say, at a gig.
Yeah, we'll let you
in the
know.
future.
We'll let you know next time we're playing in London. I don't think we don't have anything planned at the minute, but we'll give you a shout.
Brilliant, fantastic. Really appreciate that. And yeah, I'll see you somewhere down the road.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.